the drum set. Gabe used everything around him as a drum. He beat on the sofa. Bum-de-bum-de-bum, boom! He beat on his school desk. He even pounded on his knees. All Gabe wanted was a drum set, but his parents couldn't afford to buy him one. Then, one day at school, his class began studying the importance of ecology. Mr. Gomez said that we need to protect Earth and its resources. He named 3 things that everyone could do to help protect Earth: reduce, reuse, and recycle. As Mr. Gomez spoke, Gabe thought about what his family did. They recycled bottles, cans, paper, plastic, and cardboard. They didn't waste a lot either. Gabe's new jackets were never actually new because his older brother had worn them years before. They also reduced what they used. They turned off lights when they could. They lowered the heat when they were asleep. Gabe began to think about things he could recycle and reuse. Then he got an idea. He could help protect Earth and do something for himself. Then Mr. Gomez told the class they had to do a science project. By this time, Gabe already knew what he would do. He gathered his materials. He found some big balloons left over from his birthday party. Next, he searched for recycling materials and found old tin cans of different sizes. Then he borrowed some thick tape from his father. He cut off the narrow end of each balloon and stretched the balloon over the top of each can. He sealed the balloon with the tape. Sailed the balloon on the can with tape. Gabe found a set of old chopsticks and tried out his drums. Each can made a different sound. Then he began drumming with the wooden chopsticks. He sounded pretty good. The science presentations were held on Monday. When it was Gabe's turn, he took out his drums and began playing. When he finished his performance, his classmates clapped and clapped. He was a big hit. Then everyone looked at the doorway. The principal, Mrs. Lazick, was standing there and said, "Gabe, you've got some talent." Gabe blushed, but Mrs. Lazick continued, "We were starting a school band and have just ordered a set of drums. Would you be interested in playing the drums for our band?" Gabe was speechless, but he swallowed and muttered, "Yes, ma'am." "Excellent," she said. "So you'll start next Monday after school. I'll see you there." Pause the tape now and go ahead and answer the 5 questions for this story. The art show. I really didn't know Miss Gertie at all. She was our neighbor, but she mostly kept to herself. And I didn't really want to know her. I never saw her smile, and I often saw her talking to the ground. Also, there was a dense stand of pine trees behind her house. It was as if she had her own personal forest. Then, about a month ago, I accidentally kicked my soccer ball into her yard. I sneaked to the edge of the trees and grabbed the ball. "You'll do very nicely," a voice said. I jumped like a scared rabbit. There was Miss Gertie, but she wasn't talking to me. She was talking to a heap of some pebbles. She picked them up and placed them at the base of a tree trunk. I blinked, not believing my eyes. Below the tree stood a tiny house made of sticks, bark, and moss. The pebbles had become a walkway to the front of the house. "Young man, do you like my little houses?" Miss Gertie asked. "Yes, ma'am," I heard myself say. Then she led me through her tiny forest. There were dozens of houses scattered along the wooden pathway. They all had walkways, chimneys, and even wood piles. "This is wonderful. I figured they're at are at least 50 of these," I said. Then Miss Gertie gave me the biggest smile ever. "You have to share this," I continued eagerly. "Oh, no," she said, and her smile disappeared. "People will laugh at me." "No, they won't," I insisted. Then a brilliant idea hit me. "I know! We can have an art show in your backyard." "But is this art?" Miss Gertie asked. "Of course it is, and we can help them make these little houses too." For the next few weeks we gathered materials. Then we made posters to advertise the show. The day before the show we put balloons in front of the house. The day of the show Miss Gertie was nervous. She thought no one would come. "Patience," I said, and at that moment a few kids from the neighborhood showed up. 15 minutes later there were about 50 people tiptoeing among the little houses. Miss Gertie set up a long table where people could build their own little houses, and carefully she showed each child how to form the outline of a house. There was a crowd of kids of all ages making the houses with sticks, bark, glue, and acorns. An hour after the show started, a local newspaper reporter came and took pictures. At the end of the day, Miss Gertie and I were tired, but we had done an amazing thing. We shared the beauty of nature in art, and now there would be little houses all over the neighborhood. Go ahead and pause your video now and take the last 5 questions.